Ladies and gentlemen, and we return once more.
As here comes Gonzaga, the Edwards leading the trainees.
gentlemen, and we return once more.
As here comes Gonzaga, we see Edwards leading the trainees.
Around the outside, but he's done it before. He's laid the brakes into Ascari. He gets it stopped in time, and he takes that.
The Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals heads to the American equivalent of the Green Hell as we are here at VIR, just a half mile from the North Carolina and Virginia border on the banks of the Dan River. It's week 5 out of 12 and bringing you the action live here on JP Broadcasting. My name is Alex Goldschmidt. I'm going to be joined, as always, by a man I always loved working alongside. A very, very good evening. Jim Cunningham, welcome in, buddy.
Good to be here with you, man. It's been a hot minute since you and I have done a race together, and it's always a pleasure. And that's an interesting description, VIR, the American version of Green Hell. I kind of like that.
Yes, it does have its quirks, this particular circuit, which was established back in August of 1957, closed then in 1974, and then reopened back in March of 2000. So for over 26 years, it has been in the current formation of the circuit that it has been right now. It measures just under 3.3 miles, runs in a clockwise direction, 17 turns effectively, 7 to the left, 10 to the right. There are a few A's and B's, which we both know, Mr. Cunningham, that Mr. Parfit is not the biggest fan of. He'd rather have corner names. Thank goodness VIR does have. But let's round you up of how the calendar is looking for Season 2, 2026. After VIR, we head to the Garden of England to Brands Hatch Grand Prix in just 7 days' time on April 3rd. Then it's a trip over to the Eastern Bloc to the Hungaroring on April 30th. The WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca rounds out week 8 on May the 7th. Then we go to the full Grand Prix layout of the home of British Motorsport, Silverstone, on May 14th. Montreal at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada is week 10 on May 21st. Then it's the Nordschleife Industriefahrt Endurance 60-minute round on week 11 on May the 28th. And then the street circuit in Australia at Adelaide will be the last of the 12 weeks on June the 4th.
That's some good tracks there. As you mentioned, Green Hell, we got a 60-minute endurance race there. That's going to be a lot of fun. Good tracks coming up, though. I like several of these. Laguna Seca, it's good to see that on the schedule this year. Apparently Laguna Seca has been getting a lot of attention this year. So it's good to see that they're going to make an appearance there. Let's take a look at the points while we got a chance.
Yes, indeed. Let's first of all head to our first category. Of course, we run the SR8s and the current generation SR10s. Mike Bousson has a 58-point lead over Jamie Bird, with superstar DJ from Belgium, Stefan Mellis, rounding out your top 3. Ollie Gullikson and Steve Webb round out your top 5. Hervard Gullikson, Josh Reed and Ray Peasley round out the 8 drivers that have scored so far in the SR8 division. Now we head to SR10s, and it's, the man who's had more titles in Radical Race Series history than I've got fingers and thumbs on both my hands. He leads by 44 points ahead of Germany's Heinz Braun. Felix Simoes, James Barry and Kim Andre Björklund round out your top 5. They are covered by 96 points heading into this 5th week out of 12. Bruno Vittorino, Dominic Pavera, Robert Woodward, Phil Glover and Paolo Breme round out your top 10. So, we're now into the final 3.5 minutes as we go trackside here at VIR for timed qualifying. And no surprise here, who is leading the times? Well, it is the number 52 SR10 of Simon Edwards. So for those new to the Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals, what is the concept behind it? Well, some drivers do love the newer generation V6 turbocharged engine car, whereas some people like a bit of naturally aspirated V8 power under their right foot, hence why you see the likes of Mike Bousson always wanting to go with the SR8s. There is the 52 of Simon Edwards, his best lap so far in this qualifying session, a 140.103. James Barry is about 3.5 tenths behind in second, George Gonzaga, and as I say that, James Barry is the first driver to dip under 1 minute 40 in the number 10. James's teammate George Gonzaga in the 113 in the insert name here e-racing team rounds out your top three. Jamie Bird leads the way in SR8s in fourth on a 141.116. Mike Bousson rounds out your top five ahead of Kim-Andre Bjorklund, Robert Woodward, Paul LeMay, Seth Brown, and Portugal's Felix Simoes rounding out your top 10 at the moment. They're covered by 1.8 seconds. And as you can see, there are the indicated colours. For those running in the SR8s, they are normally yellow. With the SR10s, they run on the grey numbers that you see. But again, we always see here in the Battle of the Radicals here, Jim, that there is not much between the cars, but there's going to be a lot of straight line tomfoolery with slipstream here tonight, going out of Hogpen onto the front straight down into Horseshoe at T1, and then coming out of Oak Tree at turn 12 right the way through to turns 13, 14 and 15 at the roller coaster, which James Barry is making his way through now.
Yeah, in fact, well, you know, like you were talking about the concept here, you know, even though they race as separate classes, they still try to balance these cars as close as possible so that the on-track action is, you know, one car can pass another one, and they try to equal them out as well. And one of the features that we're doing this season is Simon Edwards, who is a big part of the balancing process, along with George Gonzaga and several other drivers as well. They attempt to balance the cars as best they can, and this week, surprisingly enough, I think most people would think that the SR10 is the faster car, but in most situations it's actually not the faster car. The faster car tends to be the SR8 because it's lighter and a little more nimble. So what they usually do in most weeks is they add weight to the SR8 to kind of balance them out, and sometimes they increase the horsepower just a little bit to compensate for the weight they've added to equal the straight line speed of the higher horsepower SR10. This particular week we've added some weight to the SR8s, about 62 kilograms, so quite a significant amount of weight actually. And initially they had added a little horsepower to the SR8, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they removed that because the SR it was still able to pull away from the SR8s. I mean the SR10s on the straightaways. So I believe right now the only balancing thing they've done is the 62 kilograms to the SR8. But this is like you said, an extremely strong draft track, and Simon made a point to tell me that even a car who's, you know, 6 or 7 tenths off the pace of the car in front of it can draft lock it and stay with it down these long, fast, well, for lack of a better term, we'll call them straightaways, even though they're, you know, there are some curvy sections, but they're still pretty close to flat out in these cars. And so that's your balancing situation there. As we just wrapped up qualifying, looks like James Barry was able to hold on to the pole there.
Yeah, due to have 21 cars comprising of SR8s and SR10s. So looking at the track, air temperature 20 degrees, which is around about 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 nearly. Ooh. On the track temp. That's going to really chew through some tyres.
That's high.
But it is very, very high. Here is your driver lineup For race 1 out of 2, it's going to be James Barry versus Simon Edwards on the front row of the grid. Havard Gullikson and George Gonzaga round out the front 2 rows, with Gullikson the fastest of the SR8s. Then it's Jamie Bird and Mike Bousson, all SR8, row 3. Kim-Andre Bjorklund joined by Paul Lemay on row 4, completing your top 10. It's Germany's Heinz Braun in the 86 and the 31 of Felix Simões from Portugal. Brazil's Bruno Vitorino rounds out the inside of row number 6, and he'll be joined by the highlighter edition car of Seth Brown. Ollie Gullikson and Robert Woodward round out row 7, ahead of Mr. Positivity on the inside of row 8. Phil Glover joined by Steve Webb. Then we got Stefan Mellis starting on the inside of row 9, joined by Patricio Gomez e Silva. Paolo Breme from Italy on 19th, with Kevin Harwood from Canada in the 78 rounding out your top 20. Dominic Pavetta starting 21st on the grid. It's going to be 9 laps for the sprint, 14 for the feature, as for the first time here tonight at VIR, we are green and underway. Slow start from Simon Edwards. James Barry gets the whole shot, but look at the launch by Havard Gullikson, the Norwegian, in the 55, trying to go to the outside. And now we're seeing that Simon Edwards losing a couple more places. One to Jamie Bird, one to Mike Bousson, and he's now got Kim-Andre Bjorklund to his outside on the run through into turn 3 at NASCAR Bend. And Kim-Andre Bjorklund, another one of the Norwegian contingent that have joined the field. But still, James Barry holding on to that lead. Simon Edwards trying to come back out of left hook. And now they go up the hill in towards Snake. Then we've got this very, very long part of the circuit, which undulates, goes uphill, downhill on the run through South Bend at turn 10. But James Barry is away and clear by nearly 7/10 of a second as he streaks his way into turn 10, sweeping left-hander. As off the track goes James Bird, Bousson up into P3, Gullikson trying to avoid. Edwards nearly caught up in the crossfire out of turn 12, and now Edwards trying to get through on Bjorklund. They're going to be nearly wheel to wheel out of turn number 12 as it's the long run down the back straightaway over the undulation. A little bit further back, we've got some big battles with Heinz Braun, Seth Brown, Felix, but all 3 wide right through the middle. That, I think, was Bruno Vitorino, the Brazilian of the number 21. He made it look easy.
Well, I'll tell you what, go 3 wide through the roller coaster, that's probably the first time I've ever seen that work out.
Very, very lucky indeed, but in the meantime, George Gonzaga closing in on the number 52. The overall SR10 leader after 4 weeks. We've been to Mugello, Suzuka, Sonoma and Spa last time out. And into T1, lock up of brakes. That was Gullikson. Oh no!
Bjorklund.
Oh no! That's drama for Edwards and for Kim-Andre Bjorklund, the Sim Racing Norway. They both come together out of turn 1, and that is going to drop them way down the order. Bjorklund and Edwards 17th and 16th respectively, as Gullikson and Webb have just, Steve Webb's got exit stage right off the circuit. And there's Ollie Gullikson. He's right tumbling down the order. And the way he's going to have to rejoin Patricio Gomez e Silva, who started 18th, is going to be right on his rear wing. But my goodness, the cat amongst the radical SR8 and SR10 minions has definitely been thrown here at VIR tonight, Jim.
We had a brilliant first lap there with no drama whatsoever, and then, well, for lack of a better term, all hell breaks loose right after that. Let's go back and take a look real quick at that Simon Edwards Bjorklund incident, if we can. Let me get it up to speed here.
So Bjorklund got, the thing was Bjorklund got tagged.
Yeah, I think that was Bousson. Let's go back one more time. Yeah, I think Bousson overshot that corner there. I'm going to focus on Bousson here. And
yes, Bousson against Bird, and Bjorklund gets tagged.
Yeah.
Simon has to lock up the front brakes, hits the right rear of Bjorklund, so they both go tumbling on the order. Simon Edwards has ended up down stone dead last at the minute. Meantime.
Golly, that was something else there. Okay, let's see. Let me get this here. Let's go take a look real quick over here at the Steve Webb, Ollie Gullikson incident as well.
Gullikson just hits it.
Yep, just separate incidents completely, I guess. Oh, Steve Webb just kind of had a little off track over there. He was all right.
Yeah, that was with Simon Edwards trying to get through on him. But meantime, James Barry and Hervard Gullikson are not that far apart, 6 tenths of a second. Bruno Vitorino, the Brazilian, who made a great first few places in the opening lap of the race itself, he's now dropped down into 10th position in the number 21. So, all Stealth Black, SR10. He's closing in on Seth Brown. Hervard Gullikson, in the meantime, has got behind. Oh, hang on a second. Well, JB Bird and George Gonzaga now are P2 and P3. Here's Hervard Gullikson battling away with Mike Bousson. Bousson is possibly going to get a nose ahead. They're going to go into the roller coaster, so Gullikson's going to have the advantage behind Bird and Gonzaga as they go through the roller coaster. So we are on lap 3 out of 9. These laps are going to be very, very quick here, folks. James Barry, second away from getting underneath the 1-minute 40-second barrier. The number 10 from the Insert Name E-Racing team will come across line. It's a long run, Jim, coming out of Hogpen over to that start-finish stripe.
Yes, this is well. That's obviously the long straightaway on the track here. And Barry has pulled such a gap now that he has broken the draft on anybody behind him, which is huge here. If you can separate your car from the draft from the guys behind you, he's free to kind of do his own thing, especially with the likes of Bird and Gonzaga and Gullikson back here fighting it out, and Bousson. Gullikson obviously was running there in second, and he apparently had an off-track moment, and let's go back and look and see what happened. This is what cost him second place here.
Oh, yeah, just overcooks it. I think, was it hard enough on the brake pedal, and that would be coming out of motor in turns 11 and 12, so comes through into the first part of it. You've got to be really, really on your brakes. And here comes Bousson with a big lick of speed. He uses the toe, then uses the side toe as well for good measure. And then Gullikson for the IGL Coatings and Sondig Traffic Scorer team gets through at turn 14 at the top part of the roller coaster. So he's still able to keep Bousson at bay. Now, speaking of which, here's all 3 wide down the back stretch. This is not going to go well for somebody, but Felix Simoes is right there. Bousson with a dive and a half through at the roller coaster through on Seth Brown, whereas Hervard Gullikson keeps position in P6. This is an absolutely cracking battle. We have seen that Simon Edwards has had to have a pit stop and repair the damage, so I think the number 52 had to effect a fast repair, as here we go, Jamie Bird versus George Gonzaga, and at the moment, well, Gonzaga did have the fastest lap of the race on a 40.811. Barry now 40.619. His fastest lap as we're on lap 5 out of 9, so after this it'll be 4 to go. He is 3.4 seconds up the road.
Well,
as always,
this battle here's crazy though. Look, you got all the way from LeMay all the way back through 12th place with Phil Glover here, all within striking distance of each other.
That's the thing, there are battles up and down the order. Felix Simoes says Bruno Vitorino, it's Portugal versus Brazil. It sounds like the FIFA World Cup between two football playing nations. And Vitorino makes easy work, but he runs a little bit wide coming out of turn 10. It's a bit like turn 5 at all places at Road Atlanta. You've got to be very, very much on your marks, as Paul LeMay has got it out of turn 12. So the two brothers racing.
Well, that's
number 27.
You couldn't go off track at a worse spot than exiting out of Oak Tree there. That is literally the worst spot on the track to get off track and lose your momentum there.
Yeah, so both Simoes and Vitorino get through on LeMay, who's got Robert Woodward not too far behind in the all pink machine, with Phil Glover in that wonderful Castrol liveried. And it's getting a bit feisty between Vitorino, who was nearly into the back of Simoes as they come out of Hogpen. Now it's on the front stretch. Paul LeMay should have an opportunity to slingshot his way past, but look at the run that Vitorino's got on Simoes to the outside. Can he make it through before they even hit the apex of turn 1? The answer, unfortunately, on that particular occasion, definitive no. but it allows LeMay to claw back in a little bit of real estate between himself and the Brazilian in the number 21 just in front. Heinz Brown in the number 86 car. Oh, LeMay has another drama. I think he nearly had a potential touch with Vitorino there going through out of NASCAR bend at turn 3. Heading onto the short shoot into turn 4A at left hook, but again, Paul LeMay, we know that when he's charging forward, we know that he absolutely must look behind the wheel of his car. He's one of a handful of drivers that have stuck with the SR8. In the meantime, Simon Edwards, who is closing on Kevin Harwood in the number 78, the man from Canada, has just set the fastest lap of the race, no surprise there, 1:40.517.
Yeah, unfortunately for Simon, he's all out there by himself because of the that contact, which kind of was, well, really no fault of his. He just got caught up in the mess that for Mike Buson kind of triggered, we'll say. But they're still going at it back here. Robert Woodward is all over. And Bjorklund's on his way back up. Of course, Bjorklund was the one that got tagged by Mike Buson, and he's clawing his way back up through the field a little bit.
Still remember when we used to run a GT4 league here on JPB, and Kim was actually part of the Sim Racing Norway crew that was competing in that series. But we have 3 laps to go. It's lap 7 out of 9. James Barry is nearly a quarter of the way through the 3.27 mile circuit as George Gonzaga back through on Jamie Bird. Biggest charger of the evening so far. Well, it's tied on Paolo Breme, the number 9 from Italy, and Heinz Braun, the German in the number 86, was about 3.5 seconds off this battle. So at the moment it's an insert name racing team 1-2 with Barry leading the way by nearly 4 seconds. Gonzaga P2, Bird in the James Hunt colourway, I would call that. Oh, Gonzaga locks up the brakes, car steps out to the left on the rear, and Bird gets back through for P2. Meantime, Havard Gullikson has been on the charge. The cavalry is coming, as they say, as he's got a real good switch through behind Heinz Brown. He's going to pull to the inside. Seth Brown with Mike Rousson. They're battling over P6. And Gullikson gets through on Heinz Brown before they even hit the first parts of the roller coaster. Great job there by the Norwegian to take the place away from the German, as Gullikson starting to stretch a little bit of an advantage over Heinz Brown. Mike Rousson in close proximity, chasing down Seth Brown in the wonderfully brightly green, purple and white number 38.
What did you call it? The
highlighter. Highlighter.
He just needs he needs a yellow on there.
Well, I think he's got it because look at the Radical logo that's blazoned on the side of his car. It is yellow,
so
he
true.
has
He
all
does.
So I think you could take the main body in white. That's the paper, and then you've got the ink. No, we're on to the penultimate lap of what has been a fast and frantic opening race in the VIR 5 out of 12 for season 2 2026. Radical Race Series, Battle of the Radicals here at VIR. Hear these engines, these wonderful engines roar through the corners of the circuit as Felix Simoes from the Vortex Portugal Motorsport team running still behind the number 21, Bruno Vitorino, Paul LeMay, the 2 brothers from racing. Of course, we don't see Michael brother in racing action that often, probably because of due to other things such as life getting in the way. Simon Edwards now back up into 18th position. Meantime, Ollie Gullikson in the number 222 is currently in pit lane, but James Barry is making his way up the front stretch as Simon has a bit of a moment going through Oak Tree. James Barry brings onto the white flag lap. Let's have a look at the replay here. This is what happened to Ollie Gullikson out of turn 1 at Horseshoe. Oh, he's mowed the grass with the front split up.
He has indeed. Well, you know, they're probably billing him for some lawn care services while he's here. He really is mowing some grass, isn't he? He just, oh. That looks like some sort of, oh no, he obviously drove it in there. I guess he's had enough of this one. Green hell got to him, as you, the American version got to him. I'll tell you what, the off tracks are pretty crazy, as we've, of course, started our last lap here, and James Barry is literally in a different postal code than everyone else right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's tried to leave Virginia and he's trying to escape to Georgia at the moment, but he has done a sterling job. Put it on pole position for race 1. Out of the final corner, out of Hogpen, it is going to be race 1 going the way of James Barry in the number 10.
Look here, though. Look at this.
Right. James Barry versus George Gonzaga. Can Gonzaga get him on the line? It's going to be close. It went to Bird. I think he went to Bird on that one.
Wow. It looked like from the angle we were looking at, it looked like that he got him. Wow. Yeah, so
James Barry takes the win by a country mile. Don't even ask me what that is in kilometres. As that's the running joke. I think that all started with Logan Sargent. It's like, what is a kilometre? A meme started on Instagram and all that.
This happened on the last lap with Bjorklund. Let's see here real quick as they were.
That's going to be going down into Oak Tree, I think.
It looks like it, yeah. Oh, it stepped out on him. Oh, he saved it, though. Okay. Well, he lost a position there, I think, but not horrible. All right. I think that we should be... Are we done here? We are not quite done. We've still got Simon out there on track, finishing up his lap.
Yeah, he's going to come across the line and finish in 18th spot. So, but nevertheless... He's going to have to do a lot of fighting from the back of the field. I'm trying to remember, is it inverted top 10 or inverted?
Yeah, 10. So
okay.
It should be Paul LeMay on the, no.
Oh, first grid pole.
No, let's see. It's shifting around here. We'll have to go look at the results once everybody's finished and see.
Yeah, let's just wait until the server decides to, there we go. So.
Well, that's brilliant. Okay, that one's not working.
No, well,
let's go. We'll go down to the other real quick. We'll jump down there. This is going to be fast though, but I think we give us a minute or two at least.
Yeah, we're currently with warm up at the moment, which has about. So there we go. Right, James Barry and George Gonzaga bring home an insert name E-Racing Team 1-2, winning margin just under 6 seconds. Jamie Bird finishing a little bit further behind. Havard Gullikson in P4. Heinz Brown, Seth Brown, and Mike Bousson ran at your top 7. So it was Barry, Gonzaga, and Brown, top 3 in SR10. Bird, Gullikson, and Bousson, top 3 in SR8. Bruno Vitorino, Felix Simoes, and Robert Woodward ran at your top 10. So he will be on the pole position.
Yes.
The inverted top 10 feature. Paul LeMay, less than 4 tenths away, less than 5 tenths away from getting that pole position for race 2. Kim Andre Bjorklund, Phil Glover, Paulo Breme, Stefan Mellis, Patricio Silva, Steve Webb, Simon Edwards finishing in 18th ahead of Kevin Harwood, Dominic Pavera and Ole Gullikson from Norway in the number 222 ends up finishing 2 laps down after deciding to tow it to the pits. So we go from a 9-lap race to 14 laps, Jim.
Yeah,
that's going to be even more feisty.
Yeah, well, it's going to be. You're going to have some guys out there that are going to be clawing for some, like Simon and Kim are going to be, trying to make maximum points here in this race, given what happened to them in the in the previous one. So it's going to be interesting to see those guys come up through the field. Well, we'll take a look at the starting grid in a minute, but going back to where they finished, let me look. I want to check something anyway to see if I fixed this. I did fix this. So yeah, there's your top 10. So both of those guys are out of the top 10, so they're going to be coming from way back in the field. Simon and Kim are both going to be coming from way back in the field.
Yeah, they're going to have to. They're going to have to do a good old top gear from the rear as we are set and ready. It's Woodward and Simoes on the front row. Vitorino and Buson. Row 2, Brown, Vaughan, Gullickson, Bird, Gonzaga, and Barry round out your top 10 on the starting order. Paul LeMay, Kim Andre Bjork, Phil Glover, Carlo Breme, Stefan Meles ran out the top 15 ahead of Patricio Gomez y Silva, Steve Webb, Simon Edwards, Kevin Harwood, Tommy Rivera, and Ollie Gullickson rounding out your field. On underway, the green flag has waved here at VIR for 14 laps. We storm our way down into turn 1 with 3 abreast.
Wow.
P4. And this is going to be very close. Oh, 10th round off the circuit. Meantime, who's going to be leading the way? Robert Woodward and Mike Buson battling for Julian's lead. Buson gets through around the outside of NASCAR bend for the lead of the race. Alan Gullickson and Felix Simoes ran out your top 4. Dominic Pavetta's had an off-track a little bit further back. So now it is down to 8.
Simon Edwards off the track.
Edwards. Edwards again. Flag. And Buson is not being allowed to scarper away into the distance. Into Oak Street for the first time. Bird and Simoes coming out of turn number 12. Oh, there's been a bit of a moment for a couple of drivers. Paul LeMay's around and he's off. Okay, cool.
1 second here, folks. We're having just a tiny bit of technical difficulty here with the stream feed. Give me 1 second and I'm going to get that straightened out, I believe. All right, hopefully that's going to fix the problem there. All right, let's see if that straightens it out. This thing is blinking really bad on my end.
Okay, are we muted at the moment?
No, you're good. You're good. You're back live. We are here again.
Okay, right. So it is getting a bit feisty. Simon Edwards in the pits, Paul LeMay in the pits, Dominic Rivera in the pits. Mike Buson leads, Felix Simoes at the moment. So it's going to be a case of how things will transpire over the next few laps of this race. Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is actually an iRacing problem. I thought it was a Discord problem, but apparently it is not. It is apparently a problem we're having with our iRacing feed, unfortunately.
Okay, so apologies for the technical difficulties. Don't seem to be of our making at the moment, folks. I mean, race 1, Jim, absolutely fine.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But
go for race 2.
Look at these
race
two.
2
Yeah, race 2 is acting foolish, isn't it?
It is acting quite foolishly. I mean, even though on the live timing it's blinking quite significantly from my side, but Ollie Gullickson has had a moment. He's off track. So there have been more dramas. Apologies for this, folks.
Yeah, this is actually iRacing's problem because I'm watching the separate iRacing feed as well, and the same thing's happening over there. So. Look at Kim Bjorkman there. Nice move on Robert Woodward. And folks, I apologize. I'm trying to cover the race for you. We are trying to sort out and see if we can straighten this problem out. But at this point, I'm going to keep the coverage going, but I'm working behind the scenes to see if we can get a stronger signal from iRacing without disconnecting from the race. So I apologize, but I'm going to do my best to keep the racing action going for you here while we're working on this problem. Okay, folks, this is definitely on iRacing's end. I am going to try to disconnect from the race and reconnect, so the screen will go to the static image of the thumbnail real quick while I try to get back into the session and see if it straightens out when I do that, because other than that, you know, it's really tough to watch, obviously, and even harder to broadcast it when it's like this. So we will be back in a minute or two, and hopefully that will straighten it out. Again, we apologize.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to unfortunately have to call time on our broadcast. A real shame, because race 2 is looking rather exciting. But with the technical difficulties that we're having here on JP Broadcasting, we feel it is only the right thing to do. So we will, as of right now, end the broadcast. So we thank you for your patience and understanding, and hopefully we should be able to, hopefully at some point, provide you with a full, uninterrupted broadcast of Race 2 for the Radical Race Series, Battle of the Radicals here at VIR. Our apologies once again, it's something beyond our control, and hopefully we'll get a fix on it, but we thank you for your patience and understanding once again, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.